there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you're catching this. I'm Michelle. If you're new here, I'm with Treecat, the only cross-listing automation and inventory management software service for people who sell online that is a pay-as-you-sell type of business model. So you don't pay anything until your items sell. And here we are today on our Treecat chat Turkey Coma edition. I hope you guys survived Thanksgiving and you're not feeling too bloated. For me, it's always, I do great on Thanksgiving. I moderate myself, but then it's the leftovers that get me because I can't stand to look at a half-eaten pumpkin pie and see it go to waste. Am I right? Yeah. So anyways, here we are. Let's talk about the future, not the past. So hope you guys had, like I said, you're having a good weekend. You know, we had a really beautiful, gorgeous day yesterday. So I went out and did a little bit of shopping and that was really fun. I didn't get a lot of good deals, I would say, but at least I got some gift spot, which is important. Let's see. Also had a little bit of disruption of service and, we did get that fixed within about 24 hours. So if you were one of the few people that were affected by the little glitch, I want to talk about ways to mitigate that. So like we've seen in the past, few months, we had the Amazon debacle, right? Where they had the service go down for like millions of people. And then like the month after that, we saw the, what was the name of that company, Mr. Treecat? Cloudflare. Cloudflare went down and then people had disruptions of service because of that. Last year, we had a huge disruption of service because we had a bomb cyclone hit our block and we had no power for a week. And it was at that time that we said, things can happen and we need to make sure that we're protecting our users. So if there's ever a situation where there's an outage, when they get back up and running, they can get things moving again and things will be organized and synced properly. So we invented a feature called confirm quantity. So what you want to do if you have a disruption of your service is you can go into your, let's go to Treecat here. You can go into your listings, right? Go into your sales and you can see like this, for example, sold. And because I had a very short disruption of service, I noticed that it didn't get taken down from one of my marketplaces. And I know this because I get these notifications. They look like this. And my notification said that Treecat had lost communication with the agent. And so I was like, oh, that's not good. And then I saw that the listing had not been confirmed as accurate. And that's the notification that looks like this. And it comes from Treecat and it's a very important, notification. So make sure that you have no reply from Treecat set as, going to your inbox because you want to get these notifications, right? So then what I do is I go into any listing that I know didn't get quantity handled correctly. And what I may have done is gone to my phone, manually delisted it. And then when Treecat was back up and running for me, I go and at the bottom here, there's something called confirm quantity. And I just simply click the confirm quantity and it initiates it. And then it basically starts the process of syncing things back so that what happens. And so that's confirm quantity. And that's going to get you back synced up with what you need to get synced up and things being organized again. So check out confirm quantity if you need to get things back up and synced after you've had a downage. Now, I don't think that there's any other companies that do that. So, but it's pretty common, right? In this world that we live in of, inventory management services, where you have multi platforms that you sell on. And so it's really important to have this kind of opportunity to get things synced. Now it will, when you get your system restarted again, it will do it automatically. But if you're like, hey, I want to pull this right now and have the process moving as soon as possible, you can do that manually just by pushing that confirm quantity button. And you would go to each listing that you sold that didn't have the correct, that didn't get quantity handled at the time because you weren't connected to the agent. Do those individually for each item, okay? If you want it to be done automatically. Otherwise, the sync will get run by Treecat once it's back and there's no interruption of service. So, it's just a little feature that we offer to our users so that because things happen, right? Things happen, whether it's a bomb cyclone and you lose power, or you lose your internet connection, or you lose your heat for a whole week like we did, or if it's a third party, or if it's even just a Treecat glitch. It could be Amazon could be down, the cloud service. It could be, Cloudflare, right? It could be a number of things that could happen. And especially this time of year, I noticed that there are a lot of things that can happen because of snow and big storms and things like that. So if you're unfortunate to be in a situation where you do lose power, you do lose internet, and you don't have access to Treecat, once it comes back up, just check out, just make sure you click those confirm quantity buttons on those items that didn't get properly handled. Okay, so now let's get to, do we have any questions? No questions yet. Okay, so let's get to the topic du jour, which is some of the things that I'm not going to stress over during December. So December is just generally kind of a stressful time, right? For sellers. It could be stressful for those sellers who are really busy, who sell items that are giftable and new because they're really busy and they're just focusing on shipping. It could be stressful for people in different categories who aren't making a lot of sales. Like people like myself, I sell, like new or used types of clothing. And so that's not something that people want to gift. So sales tend to be a little bit slow for me during this time of year, and that can be stressful. But that there's things that I'm not going to stress about right now. Okay. So one of the things that I'm not going to stress about is expanding to new platforms right now. As much as I would love to get right onto like Amazon or Facebook Marketplace right now, I just feel like right now is not the time, right? There's a lot of other things that are going on, especially with a lot of you who just are so busy shipping that you don't have time to make big changes. But that's coming in January, maybe late December. So stay tuned. And when the time is right, there's going to be some new platforms to make sure that you want to check out coming to Treecat. So I'm not going to stress about adding a new platform right this second, especially until, at least December 15th. December 15th, all bets are off. And I'm ready to rock and roll, because that's when things really slow down. As I am still making some sales right now, it's just not at the level that as people who are selling giftable items. Anyway, so not stressing about adding new platforms right this second. I'm not stressing about, when I'm taking photos, about having the perfect white background, having the perfect lighting. I used to stress out a lot about that stuff. I used to have perfect things, but now guess what? I don't have to, because Treecat's got the white background remover, which is free when you crosslist with Treecat, and it opens up all the features for free, right? The white background remover, the delist, relist, all the things. So you don't have to worry about making your photos absolutely perfect. As long as you are photographing on a white background, and you've got decent lighting, it doesn't have to, you can tweak that with the white background remover. So what I do is I have a light box, or I'll do a backdrop, and I'll have some lights, but I don't stress out if there's shadows or things like that, because the white background makes it look pristine and wonderful. So don't stress out about, your photography too much right now, guys, because we've got free tools that make your listings look amazing. All right. So that's the second thing that I'm not stressing about right now. The third thing that I'm not stressing out about right now is sourcing. I'm not going to worry about sourcing right now, because right now the prices, after Thanksgiving, you start to not see, maybe during the Black Friday time, you can get some deals, but like as soon as that's over and Cyber Monday is over, it's questionable. So, however, I have gotten some good deals towards the end of December with, the bigger, companies that I do with the pallets, right? With the liquidation, some of these liquidation companies are trying to get their numbers up for the end of the year, and you can get some great deals that last week of December. But until after December 15th, I'm not going to be worrying about sourcing. And I also want to save up some capital for January, February, Q1, like you guys know. So if you guys are into, the deals and doing, as much as you can to, make your money on the buy side, right? People always say where you make your money is through your buying. So a lot of you are doing, yard sales and garage sales during the spring and summer. And then when that dries up, it's, you got Q1 where I get just about as excited, about the garage sale season as I do about the Q1 retail arbitrage season. And so a lot of you know that, TJ Maxx, they've got their big clearance sale. Ross has their big clearance sale. Nordstrom Rack, and it could be different where you live, but those are some of the Kohl's, those are some of the places that they've got amazing opportunities for retail arbitrage Q1. And so I'm saving my money for that. I'm looking at buying gift cards right now, especially if there's any deals, right now, like, Black Friday or Cyber Monday, maybe there's some deals for gift cards. So maybe stock up on the gift cards right now, and then you can utilize those when you're, doing your retail arbitrage in Q1. So I went and I'm actually really excited about, some retail arbitrage. I went and asked ChatGPT, and I might do a blog post about this because I think that it's worth it for you to look at those, retail arbitrage opportunities in your area, because you might not have the same things that I have in my area. So I went and looked at ChatGPT, and you can see my conversation. So I said, for many resellers, retail arbitrage opportunities in Q1 are outstanding, like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, other sellers. Is Q1 retail arbitrage going to be as good in the past years as it is going to be in Q1 of 26? And ChatGPT had some mixed information, but possibly, good, but not crazy good. And it told me about some of the stores that I could possibly, hello, Lisa. Yes, start new. Hi, yes, start new. I don't know what that means. What are you starting new? Are you going to be doing some retail arbitrage in Q1 like me? I'm excited about it. Anyways, let's see here. Where was I? I was just talking about some great places. Well, Lisa, where do you do your retail arbitrage? Are you a retail arbitrage person that gets super excited about Q1? Because I'm really excited about places like, let me see here. Let me go back. There we go. Places like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods, because the first week of January, they have and it's pretty predictable, right? That has those yellow tag markdowns. And I feel like, gosh, if you're looking at the Goodwill prices and some of the thrift store prices these days, you can almost do better in retail arbitrage online. You do online mostly. I mean, that's the way to go. But I hope that I don't know. I get excited about these super. I mean, you can get stuff for really good deals sometimes when you're doing retail arbitrage. I would check out the TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods yellow tag sales starting the first week of January, and there's a window. There's a couple weeks where you can get those really awesome deals. Let's see what else. Ross, they have a January 99-cent event, and you can go into ChatGPT. And what I told ChatGPT is, give me a list of stores in my area. I put in my zip code. Give me a list of stores in my area, within 100-mile range, where they're going to have those really good Q1 arbitrage, sales, retail arbitrage sales. And so, gosh, I mean, you can't beat 49 cents, 99 cents, $1.49, $2.49 at Ross, when they have those clearance. You have to, especially with shoes and home goods and things like that. The other one's Nordstrom Rack. We have a huge, and that might be, the Pacific Northwest. It might be, I don't know with your area, but we have generally end of January to around mid-February is when they have their really good sales. And again, and you're getting stuff for pennies on the dollar. And so, I don't know, it's really exciting to me to hit, and you get designer stuff at Nordstrom Rack. Kohl's, and this is the one where you can, grab yourself some gift cards, at Kohl's, and get on their coupon list and stuff like that. And boy, they've got first couple weeks of January, they get their winter apparel 60 to 70% off. And then into late January, early February, they have the 80 to 90% clearance. And boy, you can get some good deals. Stick with the name brand stuff with Kohl's. And then, to a lesser extent, the cheaper places like Targets and Walmart's, they have their own thing. I don't find, I tend to try to stick with the higher end stuff because I just get a better return on that. But anyway, so I told ChatGPT to give me a summary of Q1 arbitrage, like a calendar. Make me a calendar by week. So week 1, I'm hitting up TJ Maxx. I'm hitting up Nordstrom's. Maybe Target, maybe Walmart. We'll see. And week 2, you want to maybe check out Kohl's, and TJ Maxx. You got your second wave of yellow tags, and they keep lowering the price, right? And then week 3, you got your Ross 99¢. Anyways, week 4, it just make yourself a little calendar, and maybe try a little bit of retail arbitrage, because I think the prices are probably better than, the thrift store prices. Have you seen the thrift store prices these days? Holy cow. So yeah, there's also Burlington, Big Lots, and Macy's Backstage. And, they do their huge clearances as well. Second week of January for Macy's. Big Lots, they do a January inventory reset, and Burlington in February. You're going to find some good markdowns. So anyways, that's what I was talking about in terms of things that I'm not worried about. I'm definitely not worried about, not worried about sourcing right now. Not worried about adding new platforms right now. January, that's a different story. And I'm not worried about my photos looking pristine because we've got the white background remover. That really helps. Let's see. So curious about everybody's Thanksgiving. Lisa, how was your Thanksgiving? I hope you had a nice time. We had a pretty good Thanksgiving brunch. But like I said, I probably should figure out ways to not have leftovers in the house, because that is my downfall, because you see food, really good food, and you don't want it to go to waste, All right, let's see. Reseller myths that need to die before 2026. And if you have a reseller myth that you feel like it needs to die, put it in the chat, because mine, listing every day. I feel like I've done experiments where I've listed the first 2 weeks, like really consistently, and then I've made good sales throughout the rest of the month. So, listing every day is important, but there's also other stuff like auctions, running a couple of auctions every night and getting, to try to pick things up again, scheduling listings, during when people are buying, like 7 p.m., 6 a.m. You can schedule listings during prime shopping time. What else? What are the other reseller myths that need to die? Platform changes. There's been a lot of platform changes recently, right? With eBay doing all their stuff with their promoted listings changes, and Poshmark making a bunch of weird changes. And, people are saying this is going to ruin my business and stuff. And you know what? You gotta pivot. You gotta learn how to, roll with it. And the market's going to decide, hey, maybe people are like, do I want to stay on Poshmark? I don't know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Do I want to keep promoting on eBay? We'll see. We'll take a wait and see approach, test it out, see what happens. So, people can say that, platform changes are going to ruin their business. They can if you let them. So, it's really important to just take these things as they come, make business decisions that are right for you, after you've maybe taken a little time to see how they're playing out, right? So just don't freak out when platform changes happen. Treat it like any other thing that you would treat in your business, right? I'm going to take a wait and see approach. What other reseller myths that need to die before 2026? December, the best month for every category. Not true. Not great for people who are selling non-giftable items. I sell non-giftable items. So right now, it's not like the busiest time for me, right? So Q4 is make or break for some categories, but for others, different niches, depending on what you sell, right? Could be totally different. All right. What was the third thing I wanted to talk about? What should sellers stop doing immediately if you're feeling burnt out? And you can feel burnt out for a number of reasons, right? Feeling burnt out because you're shipping all day, because you're really busy. Problems I'd like to have. Feeling burnt out, because you're doing a lot of work, but you're not getting a lot of sales because it's, a tough economy and people are not maybe buying as much as you want to see them buy. or in past years. So one of the things that I think is important is to take time to step away. So hopefully you've had time this weekend to step away, take 5 minute, walk. 5 minute or 10-minute walk honestly can do wonders, especially if the weather permits and you can get some fresh air and some sunlight, because even a 10-minute walk will reset your cortisol. And most burnouts, apparently I was reading that most burnouts can happen because of nervous system fatigue as opposed to actual fatigue. And just getting out and doing a quick walk, if you can, or just even sitting outside, getting some fresh air, getting some sun will make a big difference. The other thing is I try to prioritize doing one thing at a time. Shipping, stop. Listing, stop. Responding to customers, stop. So one thing at a time, not trying to do a bunch of things all at once is going to be very helpful. Number 3, I know a lot of you make to-do lists. Every morning I get up and I make a to-do list. And when you're starting to feel burned out, I would suggest making a not to-do list, not today, Satan list. And so maybe you're not going to worry about changing pricing, right? You're going to save that for another time. Maybe you're not going to worry about cross-listing one day. Maybe you're not going to worry about, panicking about returns, right? And that will just kind of give you a little bit of instant relief to make yourself a list of to-dos, but also to say to yourself, I'm not going to do a couple of these things today, and that's okay. So that's my little spiel. If we don't have any more questions, do we have any more questions or any comments in the chat? Lisa, I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you didn't get affected by the little glitch that happened in the last 24 hours. But we do have engineers looking into it and constantly trying to get things back to to working for people. So we thought we had a fix last night, and then it looks like we didn't have a fix. So we'll have a fix soon, because we really want to try to respond to glitches within 24 hours. So anyways, hope you guys are all doing well and enjoying the rest of your, Turkey Coma weekend. I know I'm going to. I'm about to hit the yoga class. Excited about that. That's a great way to prevent burnout if you can get some yoga in. And if you don't have a place where you can go do yoga, there's a YouTube channel called Yoga with Adrienne. That's really fantastic. And you can just do it right in your living room. And she does a lot of stuff that's accessible. So she shows you how to do it if you're not super flexible and stuff like that. So I highly recommend it. And with that being said, guys, it's almost time for me to end up this Treecat Chat, Turkey Coma edition. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Treecat Chat Live. Have a good week, guys, and take care. Mahalo.